What is going on, guys? Lottery Socks here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if you're new. Today we have a lot of stuff to cover with AMC as well as GameStop, then the overall market, Tesla, Bitcoin, and that should be about it for the major things, but we do have some additional stuff as always throughout the video that you want to pay attention to. Without further ado, guys, I hope you are enjoying your morning or your afternoon by the time this goes up. Since I research, edit, upload, record not in that order for you guys, all I ask you to do is please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, join us on this journey to financial freedom. Let's get into it. AMC currently up 2.45%, trading at $4.18 on the day. Where are we going to go? It seems as if AMC, as of right now, in the shorter term, has not been able to break out of this descending resistance level, even though it touched it over 4 times, and probably even more if we dragged it out even further. Touch point back here on October 12th, and then we got a temporary breakout end of October coming back down and into it. We also know the October FTD numbers were all wonky and messed up, and we're going to talk about a little bit of messed up numbers on the options chain in 1 minute. But as of right now, finishing the yellow part of the cycle, getting a green day as of right now as we speak, potentially coming into the boost cycle. Now, what would this mean for us going forward if it played out to what we're tracking? This would mean AMC finished its scale down a little bit lower than we anticipated finishing the yellow cycle, getting and holding support for the first time at the bottom of this temporary sell-off, which means next week, Monday, we should have, or after hours tonight, or pre-market Monday, right? We should have a gap higher if this is going to play out. So next week would be the week that this gaps higher and we all make a ton of money, right? Or at least starts the gap up, right? Gapped higher back here, came up, sold down a little bit, and then gapped even further. And of course, that is when they took the buy button away back in January. This is just what we've been tracking if you haven't been keeping up with the channel. And correlating to that, there was a very interesting spike in $22 calls. Now, this could be taken with a grain of salt. Lottery Socks is just because of this, it's just because of that. You scroll through the comments, there are some explanations that could be valid, but I want to talk about something that kind of confuses me. If you come over to GameStop's options chain, you'll see everything looks nice and dandy until you come down to March 8th, the options chain. Now, maybe there's something I'm missing here. Maybe there's, this is normal. And if you know, let me know in the comments down below. Yes, it's all reporting 0 on Stock Tracker for the options, for the calls in, out of the money, as well as the puts in, out of the money for March 8th. And then you come over to AMC, and there's not even an expiration for March 8th. It just gaps from March 1st expiration to March 15th expiration. And honestly, I don't really have an explanation for it. If you do, let me know in the comments down below. Overall, coming into next week, if this plays out the way we think it should play out and have been tracking, we gap higher, okay? That means towards the end of the day today, I'm going to decide if I want to add more shares or add calls. AMC doesn't have enough room to fall through another cycle. We already talked about everything in that sense. And I also wanted to correlate this to GameStop. You know that we have been tracking something similar with GameStop. This is GameStop back in January before the big run up to $500. And we have been tracking something very, very similar. However, we also captured the previous cycles and it looks like what GameStop is going to play out. So bull bear case scenario, ready? First of all, bull case scenario is we build this W that we see right here, right before the big run up. It's a little bit sloppy, but there is a little bit of a W coming down, making a little higher, coming back down again, and then ripping higher. You're seeing that W form right here, gapping down, come up, finishing the W. Now, that's the bull case scenario. AMC and GameStop basically gap higher next week, open up at a crazy price and start to scale higher. Or at least you see momentum, right? Breaking out of the macro trend line for GameStop above $18.35, coming into the $20 range. Or you see what happens during the previous cycles, where right after the peak, after the first peak, which is the red circle that you see on GameStop, back here, you take a look at the cycle. After the first peak, we sell off, which is very, very similar. And then you have this W, aka a double bottom, and then coming up to a second peak. Now, even if this is the case, GameStop calls is what I'm looking at. However, there's one other possible bear case scenario that would invalidate getting calls on GameStop. And the reason for that is because, of course, if this does play out, cycle, double top, calls would bring you up to another peak, not necessarily a squeeze, And then otherwise, if we played out this, we would get into a squeeze, not just another peak at that same price. Now, bear case scenario is if you take this bars pattern and flip it, this is literally GameStop playing out inverse to what we've been tracking. This is the cycle flipped for GameStop. The U starts the cycle, scales down, and then comes up, has the peak, double peak right here in the green, and then this flash down hard. Flash hard right here. Very, very similarly, and then chops down and gets a W at this bottom. This is GameStop basically inversed the cycle from back in January, which is not something we want to see. And after this video, I'm going to see if AMC's inverse correlates at all and see if we can map something out there. But as of right now, that is what we're looking at for GameStop. Ortex numbers for AMC really quick. The short interest is still rising, so we're seeing that shift in momentum, 10.47% short interest over on Ortex. AMC, 1.6 million shares available to borrow, 9,000 calls expiring this week compared to 19,000 puts, so you are seeing a little bit of more of a push to the downside, and then 82,000 calls expiring out of money, premium going to market makers. Not much to say there, except short exempts did die down to 78,000, which is down from 127, down from 227, so on and so forth. GameStop, 80,000 shares available to borrow against it. 1,000 calls compared to 3,000 puts expiring in the money, and then this premium going to market makers as well. We don't usually see a ton of bearish momentum in GameStop's option chain. It's sort of neutral. As of right now, we sort of lost on the week, but overall not much happening there, except short exempts also staying extremely high for the past 3 days on GameStop, and it is still bucking that trend. Okay, they're dumping a lot of shares on GameStop compared to the volume, and it's still bucking that trend. Moving on, Securities and Exchange Commission has a meeting on Wednesday, January 31st, 2024 at 10 a.m. ET. The matters to be considered are: the Commission will consider whether to adopt new rules to further define the phrase, in quotes, as part of a regular business, as used in the statutory definitions of the terms, quotes, dealer, and quotes, government securities dealer, under the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 in connection with certain liquidity providers. Also, it mentions certain liquidity providers rather than all. And then don't forget, we have T+1, I believe, May 24th, and then the BTFP expiring in March. I believe it's March 11th. We posted a video about it yesterday. And then finally, China Evergrande Offshore Bondholder Group to join liquidation petition. Creditors will petition courts to liquidate Evergrande on the bankruptcy court date of January 29, 2024. So yes, that date that got pushed to January 29, 2024 for the Evergrande liquidation now has another offshore bondholder group petitioning that, listen, this liquidation should go through. Offshore creditors had demanded controlling stakes in the equity Evergrande as well as its 2 Hong Kong subsidiaries as part of the debt discussions. The unexpected delay came as the original petitioner didn't push for an immediate liquidation, an about turn that caught Evergrande and other creditors off guard and marked the latest twist in a lawsuit that has dragged on for more than a year. Basically, we'll see what happens going forward, but we know a lot of collateral is held over here. If Evergrande has to liquidate, this could be a black swan event for the overall market, and I really want to talk about that. Right now, if you believe in this chart, in this setup, which for the most part has been somewhat accurate, we are in C, 2023, years of hard times, low prices, and good time to buy stocks, corner lots, goods, etc., and hold until the boom reaches the years of the good times. When is the good times? Years of the good times, high prices, and time to sell stocks and values of all kinds is 2026. So we are in that creation of a bubble, the creation of wealth from 2023 to 2026. We are smack dab in the middle. Does this mean the SPY is going to scale even higher, the overall market, crypto? Well, potentially. Before we touch on the SPY, December PCE inflation, the Fed's preferred inflation measure, was unchanged at 2.6%, in line with expectations. Core PCE fell to 2.9, below expectations of 3%, which is the lowest core PCE inflation number since April of 2021. SPY is currently trading at 488.53, up 0.1% on the day. Now, this is what we have drawn out. SPY is testing resistance, and it is getting very, very close to the $500 level, which could be a smack on the overall market. Now, I do want to let you know, if you take a step back and say, Lottie Stocks, where is this going to go? Where do big analysts think the SPY is going to go? I thought the SPY was going to crash this year, or I thought the SPY was going to scale faster, higher this year. Well, actually, this is above most analysts' expectations for the overall market to close the year, which would make you assume the SPY is going to sell off for the rest of the year, or at some point in the year have a black swan event, and there are multiple gap fills down. Now, the overall market doesn't have to fill gaps, but that's definitely just something to put on your radar. As of right now, the SPY still has bullish momentum. It is still looking strong, and until there is a negative catalyst, I expect this thing to climb even higher. But 488.55 is resistance on this, and then if we gap higher, $500 for the SPY. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a positive catalyst to break this level and just push to 500 and then hold there, right, as a resistance level, or get smacked harder. I wouldn't be surprised. Either way, you do still have a tiny gap to fill around 482.88, 483, right? We talked about it before. There is a small gap on the SPY. Now, what's also scary is AMC correlating to the SPY. If the SPY keeps running, you expect AMC to squeeze, and if AMC and GameStop don't squeeze next week, or basically squeeze very, 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 very soon, then you could expect the SPY to have a black swan going forward, which you can kind of correlate to both, right? If they don't squeeze, if they don't rip, then you could assume that, prepare yourselves for a SPY sell-off. Tesla, 183.79, up 0.66% on the day. What do we do with Tesla? Is it a buy? Is it a sell? I don't want to spend too much time on this because there are a ton of videos on YouTube that are kind of just saturating the absolute out of Tesla. You know what I mean, right? Tesla is very, very oversold on the RSI. It did fill a gap to the downside. Now there is a gap to the upside. After earnings, the stock usually is down between, 6 to 12%. It was down about 13%. Okay, as of right now, there are levels Tesla can push down to if we were to bring the drawings in, and it's kind of just a watch right now. But in my opinion, even the bull and bear case scenario, I still expect Tesla to come up to at least 226 to 228 by April. So either way, short-term calls, medium-term calls look pretty good for Tesla. Also, the last time it was this oversold, Tesla had a major move higher. Actually, every single time it was this oversold on the RSI, it had a major move higher. So let me know in the comments down below what you are doing with Tesla. Moving on, Bitcoin, 41,600, broke above the resistance level at 40. However, it is fighting another resistance level, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get another rejection here, come back down and test this level before breaking lower and everyone freaking out and Bitcoin coming down to 34K. I honestly wouldn't be surprised, especially with the state of everything. Right before the halving, all these negative news pieces are coming out, BlackRock, Grayscale, all this other stuff about them selling off Bitcoin. It's just a rug pull to get retail to, capitulate, crumble, and paper hand their crypto. In my opinion, I just bought more. I'm not really worried about it. Again, the halving is a sure catalyst. Finally, sprinkle on top, Salesforce laying off 700 employees in latest tech industry downsizing, ticker symbol CRM. And that is basically it. God bless all of you guys. And to close out the video, get in the Discord. The link is right under the video. It's the second link. I'll also pin it in the top of comments. I'm in there on the daily. I post my trades as soon as I take them. We talk stocks as well as crypto all day long. We post gains as well as our losses. And overall, just the most amazing people in here with the best vibes. So level your trading journey up, guys, and get in Discord. Also, 15 free stocks, each right up to $2,000 per stock, and 5.1% APY plus 3% for the next 3 months. So 8.1% APY. Basically no risk. There is no risk to this. All you have to do, sign up for Moon using my link and make a deposit. And yeah, helps me out, helps you out, takes 2 minutes. Let's do it. Let's get as much free money as possible. As for the trading challenge, I didn't take a trade today. That may change towards the end of the day. Again, guys, before the weekend starts, come join the Discord so we can chit chat throughout the weekend before the market opens again next week. I love you all. Lottery Stocks out.